Happy Wednesday, traders. It's 8:01 a.m. Chicago time, 9:01 Eastern. Thanks for joining me. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This morning, mixed bag again. It looks like Europe's leading up. The Euro stocks are up 25 points or 0.7%, followed by the DAX up 0.68%. And then we see a slew of safety assets, risk-off assets holding. The U.S. markets, the S&P is down 1 point. NASDAQ down 8 points. The Russell down 3.4 points. And those are the laggards. Crude oil is again lower this morning. Reminder to everybody that crude oil is trading September now. You should be trading September 2018. We rolled yesterday, so this session is trading September on crude. The symbol is CLU8. So crude is down 0.58%. And that's where we stand. It's mixed today. Yesterday, of course, was a lot stronger. Buyers were able to squeeze pretty good. We'll go over that in a minute. As far as what could interrupt our auction today, we just had a couple of numbers released a half hour ago. Crude oil inventories are in line today. At 10:30, looking for a draw of 3.05 million. Distillate inventories, a surplus of 1.088, and gasoline a draw of 850,000. Other than that, we're getting Fed Speaker Powell at 10 o'clock, and we also have Beige Book at 2 p.m. Eastern. So that's what's on deck. Not seeing anything else in terms of big earnings or anything like that. Let's take a look at what we expected yesterday and compare that to what we got. Accountability, right? So the best guess based on the narrative and the context yesterday was the green is scenario number 1. The pink or whatever that is scenario number 2. And then I threw on the cyan scenario number 3 in case we are unable to regain yesterday's range. I expected a strong move down, or relatively strong. What happened yesterday is the key play, the higher probability play, was responsive. Right? We talked about this. The way the market was opening it's opening beneath the 2 days of balance. These 2 days right here. Inside of a trend day, and the expectation is we're likely to push towards the prior day's low, consolidate, and then I'm looking for the key price that I was looking for yesterday was 98.75 to be tested, and then I was looking for it to balance there. That's very modest versus what we got. Now, there's no way for me to know that there's going to be a higher time frame participant pushing in and squeezing prices all the way across the range like it did. I just the best I can do is look for bias, right? My bias was long, as I discussed yesterday, and that was correct. But I can't say that I took full advantage of this trend day. Here's what happened. We opened a little bit higher than where I expected. Opened at 27.90. 27.91. We only got one tick off the open. We put in a clear opening swing from 27.90.75 to 94.25. Pulled all the way back, consolidated, and then we started to extend the opening swing, which is outlined by this dashed cyan line. We extended the opening swing higher only, and we pushed right back into the range, right back into the prior day's range. We tested the value low first, pull back to the low, missed that by 2 ticks. That was a setup for me right here. Just did not happen. Unable. And then it rotates back up and takes out the 98.75, the key target above, by a tick, 27.99, pulls back to the prior day's close. The close is right here, this orange line, and then extends the range up. So the IB high is taken out, so we have range extension up, and then from there it tests the prior day's high. Actually, from there it tests value high right here. This is value high. So immediately you know that up to this point, you know that there's a short time frame, short to intermediate time frame in control here as we hold on and test these daytime frame levels. Daytime frame level right there. So you got that, and that, all daytime frame levels. And then we poke through the prior day's high, pull back, and off it goes. The ES managed to push all the way up, just short by 3 ticks off of the gap zone from the February 2nd sell-off. So we have taken back that entire big composite range that we've been looking at. Very important to note that. So here we are. If we look at the composite, remember this is the gap here. We started to sell off. This was the big selling day. Remember this day? Big, very volatile day. And we have come all the way back to revisit. And that price is 28.1650. Okay. The gap zone high right up here in the 21 area. And yesterday we stopped 3 ticks below this gap zone. See this notch out right here? Right here, this untested area. We stopped just beneath it yesterday before the market closed, ran out of time. So we had a trend update. So as we look at the profile, this fib here is stale. Come on. Boy, can't select that fib. I don't like having it on there. You're getting to see the obsessive side of me. There it goes. And clearly yesterday was a trend day type, a trend profile type, finishing right at around the 28.10, holding a 28.1150 here, and with not exactly a very strong high. The point of control shifted to the top quartile of the range, so we expect a drift up at some time, at some point in the extended trading hours and glowbacks, and we did get that. The market pushed to 28.1650, which is exactly the high of the 2nd of February, the benchmark day for the sell-off. And that's where we stand. Currently, we're trading at 28.10 We have not drifted too far away from where we finished yesterday. And so the way we're opening this morning, and I don't know why it is that I'm losing this overnight chart every day. I was just looking at it. It's hiding in there somewhere. All right. Let's get rid of this. So the overnight session opens back up, immediately squeezes that high, pushes 28.1650, and then is completely sideways. Point of control, VWAP, and mid on top of each other. A relatively balanced profile, pretty good volume. Notice lately the volume in the overnight session has been at or higher than the mode of volume for the overnight, and the day session has been very light. Just very strange. More activity, relatively more activity in the overnight session than the day session in terms of volume. So far we are beneath the mid, beneath VPOC, beneath yesterday's close. This just looks very bearish. Right now we have a flagpole underneath us. This profile, I'll show you. If we look at market profile, which I refer to here and there, just a lot of repair based on yesterday's profile. So this is the TPO profile, or time price opportunity, based on 30-minute time slots that are stacked to form this histogram. And this is a classic volume profile, the way I normally look at it. And you look at yesterday, and we have a single 2809, a single at 2806.50. We have a single down at 27.99 and a quarter. These are all kind of poorly auctioned areas that we ran through very quickly before we found balance at the top of the range on the close. So this is what I would consider this a flag, right? And this is the pole. And what tends to happen is as we take out the key LVN right there, the first single, there's a tendency to drift down the flagpole, like a flag coming down a flagpole, back to where balance was recently, right? And that area is 2,800. Okay, so those of you who are convergent and looked at the ES RTH recap, you'll see my conclusion is that we didn't build out of 2,800 like this. We didn't have days where it's just, or double distribution days where we clearly found back and forth value. We basically just rushed right through, and we tend to come back and repair those areas. I don't like to use the word repair because it implies that the market has to do something, but there's a tendency that once we break lower, we're likely to trickle down to where balance recently was. So pay attention to that. Again, the control is on the buy side. The overnight session is not giving us much more than the fact that we are below mid VWAP and VPOC, and we have a weakish low in a very, very balanced profile. So coming into today, let's clean this up. I don't need all this stuff on here. Coming into today, we have given the run yesterday. Remember, the market does not normally sprint and then continue sprinting. The market normally sprints, takes a break, then gets its breath back, sprints again, and so on and so forth. Yesterday was a sprint. Today, I'm expecting that we are very likely to consolidate up here. Looking for an open auction. We're opening right on top of the point of control, looking for an open auction, and then looking for it to try to get back up into the 28.1575. I'm looking for a test of this area. I'm looking for that to fail, and then looking for the market to seek the other way. I'm looking for very much a balanced day, a back and forth, rotational, choppy type of day. I'm looking for this high to be exceeded at some point, but overall, the market may push very quickly back into that 2806, 2804 area. So this area here becomes the big target. So how do I trade that to theory, and why does it matter? The way I trade it is, I know what the narrative is. I know what the context is here. The context is where it's a day after a strong trend up day. We're against the gap zone that's up here. Let's turn it on and back off. There it is, the gap zone. Okay, see that gap zone right there? We're against that. We're probably going to poke in. The gap zone mid is 1875, expecting initial resistance there. So my job then is, if it drifts up and there's nothing for me, nothing that cues me to get long into that, If it drifts up, then I'm looking for what is the response at 28.16 and a quarter. What is the response at 28.18? 75, the gap mid, for an opportunity to take a stab short, especially if it's an open auction type open. Is it respecting day time frame levels? In other words, is it pausing and stopping at the high, or is it just blowing through things, meaning that there's a higher time frame, there's a stronger hand in the market, and they don't really care about my levels? And so that's what I need to determine. Once I determine that, then I'm leaning on order flow to look for a short, for a reversion back to 28.1150, the point of control. And now I'm looking for the key LVM below at 09.5. I'm looking for 06 quarter. I'm looking for 04 quarter, and so on and so forth. And that's how we get paid. Okay? May or may not work. Nothing's guaranteed. But I come in with a plan so that I know that I'm not going to respond to every bid, every offer, every move, every this, every that. I come in with a plan so I know that these are the areas where I interact with the market, and that's it. Otherwise, I'm over trading, I'm scalping, I'm paying too much attention to my order flow platform, and I'm reacting to everything, and I've become a trader that's responding on emotion versus a logical plan. Secondary, open auction, tests up, drifts down, and it starts to walk down. So this is kind of the worst case scenario, but it's very likely today where it just gets there, but it grinds down, not giving us a very clear test failure reversal type of pattern. Okay, I don't like those kinds of days and that's the kind of day that gets a lot of people in trouble, where they they take their stop and then they see that the market came back, so the next time they extend their stop further, and it just keeps drifting and drifting and drifting. So pay attention. The third scenario, given the trend, is an open test drive pushing through to 1875 first. Okay, consolidate, close the other side, likely to push through and shift value higher yet again. And that's the trend up continuation scenario. Not very likely, but who knows? We're in earnings season, and the numbers have been pretty good so far. So those are the three key scenarios. As I said, this isn't an exercise kind of to keep my mind nimble or whatever. This is how I'm planning my day. I'm visualizing what might occur, and I know that unless I see one of these play out, I don't do anything as a trader. A good portion of what we need to learn as traders is when not to trade. It's very hard to determine when not to trade, and knowing that these are my scenarios helps me along that path. Okay, that's all I've got for you. Good luck today, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.